Short Film Festival. The Texas Short Film Festival is coming up very soon, this Saturday on the 22nd in San Antonio, Texas. We're going to be screening all kinds of short films from all over the world. Any genre goes. We have everything from music videos to TV pilots, science fiction, drama, horror, comedy, you name it. We have so many things to show you. All the content is 30 minutes or less, so I hope you're able to join us. Today, we're joined by director Jordan Fuller Vera, and his film, Afterlife of Memory, is nominated for the Best Relationship Drama Film Award. Thank you, Jordan, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is a great honor.
Well, the judges really are impressed with your work. They definitely picked you for a reason. They love just the cinematography and the acting and just the visuals and many layers to the film that I will not ruin. I'm going to let you tell us the synopsis, and please tell us what is this film about?
Yeah, it's a layered film for sure. So, the short look at it is that this is a grounded sci-fi drama, and it's about in the near future, a man undergoes a cognitive procedure that allows him to alter the memory that ended his marriage. But in reconnecting with his ex-wife and the choices that he made in this memory, he finds it difficult to say goodbye to her.
That's deep.
Yeah, it's definitely a movie that has a lot of layers going on. It's really an emotional relationship story, but it's nestled in some sci-fi concepts. A little more backstory about kind of this world is the idea is that at the end of the 21st century, life on Earth is suffering from overpopulation, civil unrest, and general hopelessness, kind of things that we're moving towards currently. And the idea is that the fortunate people live in isolation. And as a result of this, in our story, 5 nations have come together and built an off-world colony to preserve humanity. And the civilian migration to go to this place depends on passing a memory scan. And this memory scan will deny you if you have any sources of trauma. So from this, the cognitive procedure has been developed called alteration. And this allows people to relive source memories where a personal choice was the result in trauma. And if you alter these choices in your memory, you can erase the trauma, but it would also change your personality. And so we kind of enter the story as looking through the lens of, if you are successful with alteration, the access to this memory will be lost forever. And that's where our character is kind of in this dilemma of reliving this memory with his ex-wife. But if he is to change it, he will lose this access to seeing her again.
Wow. Yeah, deep one, man. Very good story.
We'll see if everybody grasps that when they watch the movie, but it is a very emotional story that's carried by some terrific performances and really talented cinematographer from Adam Valencia, who shot the movie.
So why create this story? What is it about? There's got to be some personal attachment or something. What was the inspiration for creating this film?
Yeah, it's I feel like with everything that, I mean, most filmmakers probably, but for myself especially, you come up with narratives that come out of your life. They're not necessarily autobiographical, but they are emotionally biographical. And a lot of times it comes from a situation or a problem or something. There's friction that you encounter. And as a storyteller for myself, when those things happen or questions come up that are life-changing, your head kind of goes down a narrative rabbit hole, and you think of how can this become something interesting to express cinematically. And so with this story, in the creation of it, there was a few things that were going on in my life. The first thing was I started this movie about 3 years ago, and at the time I was falling in love with my wife and the mother of my daughter and my second daughter that's on the way. And so at that time, I was going through a lot of milestones and a lot of emotions with our relationship growing, and then this idea of bringing children into the world and talking about if we want to have children, what is the state of this world? And this question has kind of become more and more relevant. And so I took that idea and went a little further with it into the narrative sense, where what if the world is in a place where it is a very difficult question as to whether you want to have children and whether you want to, bring a child into this world and have this family, like the benefits that come from the joy and the love of that experience. But if it's matched up against a world that is falling apart and there's a lot of strife, how do you balance those emotions? So that question was playing in my head. And also at the same time, I was thinking a lot about memory and how there's choices that you make. Sometimes they feel very irreverent, and they don't feel very, you know, impactful at the time. But trauma can come out of simple choices sometimes in your life, and how your whole life can be changed by simple choices. A lot of times, I feel like in most narratives, trauma is used as this very sensationalized event, like a death or violation. And these are very true stories to tell. But trauma can also come out of just your personal life choices and how you interact with the people in your life, and how simple choices can steer your life in completely different directions. So that was kind of something that I wanted to look at more on like a more grounded, smaller level. And that, those two things rattling around in my head, I sat down to do my next film, and it just started going that direction about this relationship and how simple choices can affect your future, and how, regret can get you hung up on things in the past. But in the end, you need to reconcile the past in order to create the future. And that's where the film leaves the audience. And that's where it's, that's the meaning of the story in the end, at least for me. And hopefully it means a lot more in different ways to the viewers as well.
Sure. Well, from a technical perspective, I feel like every film is a little piece of film school. What
Mm-hmm.
did you learn during this production?
Yeah, it's a good question. You learn every project. I mean, every time you do this, every time you put yourself out there and craft a story, bring a team together, figure out how to make this thing, it's a collaborative medium, and it doesn't exist without collaboration. And you're gonna learn stuff through the people you work with and the problems you encounter, and the success you have or the failure you have, you learn from it. So this was no different. What I think I gained the most benefit from was I surrounded myself with some really talented people on this, and it was a very small crew, which I felt nervous about in going into the production because, there was like 5 of us making this film. It was me, my co-producer Adam Valencia, who was also a cinematographer, and we were kind of the spearhead for this vehicle. And then we had our 2 leads, Bobby Daniel Rodriguez, Zarina Mata, and they carry so much of the film. We have some other actors in there too, but on most of the set, it was us 4, and we had our sound, and we had a camera assistant, and an art director. So it was a really small team. And what I learned was that you really want to. It's nice when you can work fast and work with a small team, but you want to try to find those people that can bring a lot to your project. And I was just really fortunate to have great talent on screen. Like the 2 leads are really good in this. They carry so much of the emotion in a way that I was only hopeful could come out. So I learned a lot about working with the actors, collaborating on the material, going through the material with them, and finding like where do they connect to it, and just being really honest with it too, and saying like what in this script doesn't connect with you, or where do you bump on things, where does it not make sense, thinking about this from the actor's perspective, because actors have such good instinct on how scenes work. They need to know certain things about how to make the scene work for them, for the performance. So we did a lot of reading together and discussions about the story, and that really helped out a lot. For some of like the behind the scenes kind of making the film, I knew that we were going to have in this film it be a memory, but in there we were also going to see clips from other memories from happy times, kind of penetrating the main memory we're in, and kind of giving us a reflection of other things intruding into this memory. And so I wanted to do like a little run through of with the actors before. So before we actually got to principal photography on set, we stopped at a beach, Morro Bay, up in northern central California. and we just did like an improv shoot where I had them talk in character, ask each other questions, and I would kind of throw out questions for them and just let them really like live in the characters and just do like a whole first date. We shot like a 50-minute take on the camera of them just on the beach talking. I'd give out prompts for actions, and all this was material that was going to be a memory we played with in the edit. But it was also just really helpful because it got the crew working together. It just got the flow going and the actors going, so that when we got to set, it wasn't madness, like trying to figure out how to work together and where's the emotional thread for the story on like day one when the sun is rising and you need to shoot something. So that was something I learned that paid off. And yeah, just working with these people and listening to your crew about their instincts. They're all there to make the film better. So I think that was something that I was really happy to have surrounded when I was making this.
What do you have planned for the future? What's next? I mean, you obviously put a lot of thought, time, effort, and energy into this one, but what's the next project for you?
This originally started as a proof of concept.
Mhm.
It's kind of turned into its own story as I worked on it for 3 years and was editing this, like, in the middle of the night when I was giving my daughter her midnight bottle. I just sat up and would work on it for hours. And so it was supposed to be a proof of concept to the feature that I wrote. I originally wrote the feature first and took the beginning of the film and kind of repurposed it into a short film. So that's still something that I'm pursuing, some rewrites and pushing the feature. But also I'm based between Tucson, Arizona and Los Angeles, and Arizona's just gotten some great film incentives. And so I have a pilot script that I wrote based in Tucson. And so right now that's another project of mine, is to do some rewrites and push that script around and hopefully bring a series to Tucson. That would be a pretty great, achievement. I think something like that could happen for my town. So a couple things going, and hopefully get to make something here soon. Right now I'm more in the writing world. So.
Okay. Oh, it sounds like some good things may be on deck. So that's cool.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time today, my man.
Thank you for
Is there
having
anything?
me.
Yeah, it's been great to get to know you and get to dive deep into this project. And there's something exciting about knowing that there could be more. So
Yeah. The feature definitely goes in a different direction. It explores the world more, and it goes deeper into the idea of entering memories, and it has there's more sci-fi concepts that get played out. But for the purposes of making a short and what's at your disposal, we grounded a lot of it. So there's more to come for sure in that universe that we set up.
all right, good stuff. Was there anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I'd like to just say thank you so much to the judges and the people involved in this festival. It's a great honor to be part of it, and definitely to be, nominated to be in competition for our category means a lot. It means a lot for the performances and for the people that worked on it. So yes, thank you so much, the Texas Short Film Festival. We're excited. If we have anyone out there in Texas that is curious about this film, definitely come and check it out. It'll be screening, and we make this stuff to share with the world, so hopefully everybody can come and see it and be part of it.
All right,
Yes,
thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Have a
it.
good one.
You too.